Call the council meeting to order. Go on with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Wyatt. Here. Stabell.
Here.
Buns. Present. Engel. Here. Reister is absent.
And Reister is excused absence.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
With one correction. Pardon me. Under general government, item A talks about being the first reading of ordinance 793. This will actually be for the second reading. That's the one that we approved, subject to making some adjustments. So, motion to approve with the change.
Move to approve with the change.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mayor's comments, commendations. One thank you to go out to Dave Murray. He put the decals on the new Public Works truck at no charge to the city.
He does that for the police cars too every time, so we really appreciate Dave and his time to do that because they look fantastic.
Citizens request. Lola, Hudson Days request.
Yes, I'm up. Hudson Days this year is July 19th through the 21st, and the theme is Rev It Up for Hudson Days because we've had such a good response to turnout with the auto show. So hope to make that grow again. I don't know, we've always just come in right, pretty much even, with little despair. Last year we were in the red when we got a couple $100. So, but anyway, we appreciate whatever you can give us, as usual.
How do we normally handle it, Chrissy?
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda next time. She usually comes in for the request. We kind of figure out what we're going to do, and then I usually put it on as a resolution the next time.
What's our normal past?
2,500.
2,500.
Yep.
Okay. So you'd love to have a couple hundred more if we can squeeze it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Then we could end up in the black. Yeah.
We'll see what we come up with.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Lola.
Thanks for your time.
You can stay if you want.
Sorry, I just ran from another meeting, so.
Committee reports. Public
Lucy,
Works.
did you see my request to speak?
No, I did not.
I sent it at noon today.
No, I don't have anything.
Well, that's fun.
I know. No, I don't have
I'll open
anything,
it to
sorry.
you. You got something you want to speak
I
on?
promise to be really brief.
Okay. 3 minutes today.
I just want to thank the mayor and the council for listening to public input at the public hearing we had at the last meeting and responding positively on the zoning thing for R5. Good move. I don't think it impacts me directly at all, other than you know, I'm just happy to have some area in our city that can be protected by zoning that allows other people to just enjoy the quality of life that we've had in Hudson the last 15 years. It's unique. And mostly I think I want to thank you on the behalf of the people that have been helped by this that don't even know it. I think of those on the east side of Butterfield who just bought their R5 3-acre lots within the last 2 or 3, 4 years, thinking they had 50 feet side setback, so there'd always be 100 feet between them and their neighbor's house and have a smell boat room. And if we hadn't made this change, they'd be waking up tomorrow morning finding that their house and their neighbor's house could be only 40 feet apart, not 100. So thanks on their behalf too.
You're welcome, Leon. Public Works Committee, Scott.
Yes, we met on February 14th, 7 a.m. Discussion regarding the splash pad, which Kate is kind of leading the charge on. Total cost estimate of about $150,000, which she intends to try and raise 55, and then is seeking some grant money to help fund that project. We then opened bids for the 2000 pickup and are recommending to sell that at $3,025. And then we had an approval of writing off some bad debt that had been on the books for quite some time. And we adjourned, 7:18.
Any questions for Scott?
What was the amount on that?
800 and some?
What, the bad debt?
Mhm.
It was 3,800 and something, I
Just
believe.
curious.
I know it was over
Must have been the
3,000,
first page.
so.
What's that?
I must have been thinking the first page of them.
Yeah,
Some of these were back to 2007 or even earlier than
Or
that.
Yeah, between
really
2000.
old.
yeah, they were at least 2007, there were a couple of them that were like 2003, 2004, so.
And most of them were under $100.
Yes, there was only maybe 4 of them that were over $100, so it wasn't worth our time to.
Yeah.
Anything else for Scott? Thanks, Scott. Kate, Public Safety Committee meeting.
We met February 22nd. The first thing that we talked about was an ordinance change for operation of off-road vehicles. These would be, I think there is a motion, or there's something on the agenda for tonight about this. Looking at, these are UTVs, not ATVs, that would be allowed on city streets. There are some additional things in that ordinance that we'll look at tonight. The off-road vehicles would be required to have a permit, just like a golf cart would be, with the same fees involved with that. They would also have to have safety equipment, including a flag and turn signals, attached to the vehicle before it will have to be inspected and permitted by the police department, just like a golf cart would as well. They cannot have handlebars, and it can only be operated between 6 a.m. and midnight. Operators must be at least 18, and they cannot travel at speeds higher than 35 miles per hour. So some of these side-by-sides, unfortunately, or fortunately or not, I guess I don't have one, can go at very fast, like highway speeds, and we're gonna keep them to 35. So there is a motion on the table tonight for that. We also, the police chief said the police department is running off of the new county radio system. He's very pleased with the system and hasn't been able to find any dead spots like he could with the previous system. So that's a really good thing. As you may or may not recall, the county actually stepped up and purchased that. Instead of each community having to put in so much money for it, the county took the expense on, and we'll just raise county taxes in order to cover for that. So it's a good thing that we've got it here. The fire department is going to be switched over sometime in March. The fire department met with some representatives from Dyke, New Hartford, and Janesville about new 28E agreements with Cedar Falls Mutual Aid, as well as those other communities. They are going to chat, and the department is going to look at updating all of their mutual aid agreements to make sure that we have the latest copy on file with everyone, so that if there's issues, we can help them. The meeting was adjourned at 4:18.
Any questions for Kate? Thank you, Kate. Now's the time for the public hearing regarding the 2018-2019 budget, so I'll open the public hearing. Any written comments, Chrissy?
No.
Any oral comments from the floor? I'll close the public hearing. General Government, Hudson City Council maintains the right to waive the first and second readings of the ordinances presented and may pass the third and final reading of the same ordinance within the same council meeting. Item A, discussion action to approve the second reading of ordinance 793, an ordinance amending the Hudson City Code 2017, Chapter 165, Development Ordinance Definitions and General Provisions. Let me walk you through what we worked through. If you recall, we approved through the first reading, but on the basis that we should set up a separate zoning for these 1.5 acre or greater that were not on public. Following up on Leon's concerns, if you look over there at the zoning map, the R5 is in yellow. What would have happened had we passed it on its own, there are at least 2 lots over there in the R5s that are not yet built on. What would have happened had we not set up a separate zoning classification is that those lot owners could have immediately built 50 feet closer to the street, and instead of being 50 feet off their side lot yards, could have been 20. Also, in the future, if anybody remodeled their house or redid their house, had it burned down, they have automatically been able to go to the 20-foot and the 150 instead of the 200-foot frontage. So it would have changed the potential looks of that area fairly significantly. I did meet with, I updated Bob Stevenson on our findings. I met with Brian Harkins last Sunday afternoon to walk him through. We basically came to a concurrence that setting up a separate zoning R6 would absolutely keep it clean. So the R5s would stay the way they are with the one modification off the 794 that we'll get to. But for 792, it had been previously 791, just so that we keep the track clear of what we've moved and approved on each one of them. Basically, 793, that is, instead of 791 from last week, 2 weeks ago. 793 will be setting up R6 zoning at 1.5 acres by itself. And what will happen then is anybody on that grid, you'll see an R5, so we'll slip an R6 in there, so there'll be color coding in the future. Obviously, at this point, we have no R6s. So if this ordinance is approved through the third reading, then it would be open up for applicants to apply for rezonings. I have a motion to approve the second reading of 793.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
I have one quick question. If an applicant wants to open up to rezone to R6, is there a fee to rezone?
Is it what?
A fee to rezone?
For anything.
Yes.
So what about the family that this kind of all started with?
What they would have is they would have the opportunity to rezone to basically the setup that they were desirous of, which is a 1.5 acres without mandatory hookup to water sewer. Have to be the 1.5 acres, go through septic system approvals. So, further discussion? Roll call.
Buns,
Aye.
Engel,
Aye.
Stabell,
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
4-0.
Yes.
It's not a 4-1 anymore.
Nope, it is not.
Item B, discussion action to approve the first reading of ordinance 794 and ordinance amending the Hudson City Code 2017, Chapter 166, Development Ordinance Establishment of Zoning Districts. Now, in this one, what we did 2 weeks ago was tabled 792. So first, I would need a motion to remove 792 from the table.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? So now that we have 794, and basically what 794 was to affect the R5 zoning that had permitted uses of larger animals. What this does is restrict that permitted use to only R5s that are 3 acres and up. And in this case, in order to try to get matched up with 793 as far as timing, I would look for a motion to waive the first reading of 794.
I'll make that motion to waive the first reading.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now I'm looking for a motion to approve the second reading of 794.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This is just the animals, is basically what
Just
it's
the
doing.
animals, yes.
Okay, but
Yeah.
so do we need an ordinance then specific for the R6 then, for the
No,
animals?
because what we've done is we've patterned R6 as basically taking some of the components of R5 and R1 so that having larger animals is not a permitted use in an R6. So it
I was just gonna-
automatically knocks out that
Okay.
all by itself. We don't have to address it. So this is only having to say, hey, we've had R5s at 3 acres and up. Well, the ones that come in at the 45,000 square feet,
I'm with you.
they don't
Okay.
get that permitted
Perfect.
So
use.
there's no
Thank you.
animals allowed in that, okay.
Any further discussion?
I just have a question.
Roll call.
I just had a question, quick.
I'll give you one quick question, Jim.
From the way it's read, could you confirm that it's 3 acres and higher is not restricted and 3 acres and below is now restricted in R5? Is that what it reads?
Correct, as far as permitted animals at the various sizes.
So that's the only difference,
Yeah.
it's just that one difference. Thank you.
Mhm. Roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Engel,
Aye.
Everybody know where you're at now
Yes.
on that? Cool.
Good.
And in 2 weeks, it'll go for third reading on each of them.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you. Item C, discussion action to approve resolution 2355, a resolution adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2019.
So moved. Second.
Discussion.
Thank you, Chrissy, for all of your hard work,
Yeah.
and Katie and everyone else. Budget time is always exciting.
All the
That's
committees for
awesome.
coming through with it.
Yep, absolutely.
Roll call.
Buns?
Aye.
Wyatt?
Aye.
Engel?
Aye.
Stabell?
Aye.
4-0. Item D, discussion action to approve resolution 2356, a resolution accepting the highest bid for the 2000 F-350 street pickup, which was for $3,025. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Yeah, it actually happens to be Dan's brother-in-law.
Yeah, it is, and so.
But it was above our
That's
published
fine.
minimum. Roll call.
Wyatt?
Aye.
Stabell?
Aye.
Buns?
Aye.
Engel?
Aye.
Hey, one quick question, going back to
Sure.
that, those funds go back into Public Works reserves then? The
Yes.
money coming back for that truck? Perfect, thank
Yeah,
you.
'cause that's
Sorry
where the,
about, I
that's where
didn't
the
ask
new one
before.
came. Yep.
Thank you.
Item E, discussion action to approve resolution 2357, a resolution to set a public hearing for March 12th to add chapter 82 to the City of Hudson Code of Ordinances. And 82 is what, Chrissy?
Is the UTV.
UTV. And this is just for the public hearing on it.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Wyatt?
Aye.
Engel?
Aye.
Buns?
Aye.
Stabell?
Aye.
4-0. Item F, discussion action to approve resolution 2358, a resolution to set a public hearing again for March 12th to amend section 70.03 of the Hudson Code of Ordinances, and this is regarding getting the fines having to be paid within 3 days, not 30
Not
days,
30 days.
because it was supposed to be 72 hours. Right now, people have 30 days to do it.
This
They
is
want to get
parking
back.
fine?
Yeah, for just a small,
Yeah.
like,
City
Parking.
issued fines.
Right.
yeah,
Perfect.
yep, yes.
So a motion to approve for setting public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Engel?
Aye.
Stabell?
Aye.
Wyatt?
Aye.
Buns?
Aye.
4-0. Information items, there's about 4 of them noted. Reminder items, regular scheduled meetings at council chambers except electric board and library board. Public Works, March 7th at 7 a.m., which is moved up 1 week.
Yes.
Is that because of spring break?
No, the public works guys will be gone.
Training.
They have training
Yep.
on the 14th.
Mayor's Task Force meeting, March 20th at 4:45 p.m. Public Safety, March 22nd at 4 p.m. Personnel Admin Finance Committee, March 26th at 4:45, and the next council meeting is March 12th and 26th. Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Did you get it working?